Hi everyone. Today is Tuesday, May 19th. I am Miss Denise from the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Fox Valley with the Appleton Teen Center. This evening during Teen Talk, Summer Schwartz from Runaway and Homeless Youth Services and Keira Jett from KA will bring you the Lighthouse. It is going to be a good night discussing issues and concerns that matter. Then Tori McNeil and Dennetra Williams from STAR and Keira Jett from KA will bring you BSU. Tonight in BSU, they will be dissecting Marvel's Black Panther movie. We hope you enjoy everything we have planned for you today. Have fun. See you later.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Lighthouse. We are super glad that you are here with us tonight.
Yes, welcome back. I don't know what week it is, but we're excited to be here.
Yes. So today we're going to talk about coming out, and I think that that's something that is, at least with my people who I've been speaking to, is like a very hot topic right now, because I know so many of you are at home with families who maybe don't get it. And maybe kind of hint that they are not supportive or are just like outright not for it. So we're going to kind of talk about coming out and what may go into that decision, and how to make a plan so that you can stay well and safe in the event that it doesn't go very well.
Absolutely. All right. I guess I just want to start with saying that coming out it's a special thing to do, and it's whatever you want to make it. So I just want to remind everyone that no matter what, that you are supported, you matter, you are loved, and however you are feeling about coming out, it's okay to feel that way. So
yeah, it's definitely sometimes scary, sometimes like anxiety inducing.
Definitely.
But something that I just want to make sure that you all know is that you don't have to come out in order to be brave. I think coming out is a brave choice, and I also think being really careful and timing it so that you can stay safe is also an equally brave choice. And I also want to just say that I think we have this understanding in our culture that coming out is kind of a rite of passage, in order to like count, in order to be really LGBTQ. And I'm here to tell you that that is not true either, right? Who you are on the inside is who you are, right? If you have to keep that inside for a little while in order to stay safe, you're still that person. That is still who you are. That is still real, and we still see you. Regardless of what decision you make about coming out now or in 5 years or in 10 years, it's really a personal decision, and there's no wrong way to do it.
Yeah, and we were talking about this earlier, and I just wanted to let Keira know that I've never heard somebody say that out loud, and how like important that can mean, and hearing somebody say that to you, like that it can be whatever you want it to be, and you don't have to tell anyone if you don't want to. Or you can tell everybody if you want to, but your safety and your mental health and what your well-being is most important. So
exactly,
see what's best for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Summer, will you tell us about some of those like safety points that go into making the decision to come out or not?
Definitely. So, of course, you always want to consider your safety when you're thinking about coming out. Parents and guardians, who knows how they may react, right? You might have super accepting ones, which I hope you all do. But we all know that that's just not reality sometimes, and we want to be pretty realistic and make sure that you have a plan in order just in case whoever you're living with reacts in a way that was unexpected, so that you can stay safe, for shelter wise, for everything wise. Just want you to be safe. So which would be creating a safety plan before you have this conversation with whoever you are living with. So some things to keep in mind when you're creating a safety plan is obviously that the safety plan is created around coming out, right? To whether it's your parents, your guardian, whoever you're living with, that Especially, I want to remind you, like, it's important to have the safety plan if you're like financially dependent on whoever you're living with, or like you depend on them for shelter, things like that. If you are living out on your own and stuff like that, this could be a little bit less important to make sure that you have these in place, but obviously having people and resources are always great no matter what. So surrounding all coming out, you want to make sure that you have some coping skills in your back pocket, right? Those are things we all need for all sorts of situations, to be able to deal with all kinds of things, right? So knowing those things that keep you sane, that keep you grounded, that will kind of make you calm down, whether it's listening to music, reading a book, just going for a walk, taking a nap, whatever it may be for you. Just have a bunch of those in your back pocket to keep you and your mental health well. And then the next thing I have is have people that you can call. Who are those people in your life? I know I would call my sister or my best friends, those people that you can trust, and then that will be there to support you and help you through, and you can vent to them, whoever that may be. Just have them in your back pocket too. And then also the professional supports, right? Who are your resources? We will have a bunch of resources linked at the end of this video. One I will go ahead and plug right now is the Diverse and Resilient, which is a local Fox Valley organization. They have a warm line that you can call. That phone number is 414-856-5428. And you can call them for all sorts of resources. They are a really great organization to work with, and they focus specifically on LGBTQ plus and all of issues and conversations surrounding our community. So, and then the next thing, after you have all those resources, any hotline would be good. The Trevor hotline, I know we've mentioned in previous videos too, is probably a good one to keep in your back pocket. They focus specifically on mental health. So it'd be great to keep them too in mind. Just having those people that maybe aren't your personal friends that you can call, that can help you walk you through all the feels you're going to be feeling if this happens to go in a way that you don't hope it goes. And then this is the not most important, but pretty important, is places you can go. Who can you stay with that is safe? You want to really, really make sure that they are safe. That will give you a bed to sleep in, some food in your belly, things to keep you safe if things don't go as planned when you are coming out. Whether that's your aunt, your neighbor, your best friend, whoever will let you stay with them, just make sure that they are safe and trusted, and that you can go to them if you need to. But it's just important to keep all these in mind. Coming out can go so many different ways, and I want you guys to be prepared for all the different ways it can go, and we want to keep you all safe. So, yeah. Do you have anything to add?
I'm thinking about two things. So thing number one is, I know that a lot of you in this day and age, this didn't happen to me too much growing up, because I think the idea of having a cell phone for everyone was pretty new. But I know that sometimes when you get in trouble, you get your phone taken away.
Right.
So one suggestion that I have would be to let that trusted person or people know that you're going to do this before you do it, right? And just have them like pick a time that they'll check in with you later that day or later that night, just so that someone is looking out and keeping you on their mind. Because otherwise, if you get your phone taken away, it'll be hard to call the hotlines, right?
Absolutely.
So if you let that trusted adult know first, or a trusted friend first, then that might just be a bit of a safety net in case you get your phone taken away. And then the other thing that I just want to make super clear is, if you do have to leave the house, if you get kicked out, if you feel like it's not safe and you choose to run away out of the house, that person who is letting you crash on their couch or has a bed or some food for you, one of the ways you can tell that that's a trusted person is that they're not going to expect you to trade anything for them, right? 100%. They're just going to say, oh my gosh, come in, here's dinner, here's a bed, like what do you need? They're not going to be like, well, I'll do this if you do, some other thing. That
is huge.
Yeah, right. So that's one way to tell, right, if that person is trusted They won't ask you for anything, right? They'll just give you love, right?
Yes.
Which is what you deserve. So that, I think those 2 points are just important to keep in mind when making a safety plan.
Thanks, Keira, for adding that.
Yeah.
Those were great points. I have some other resources that I'll link at the end, but I will link also a parent support guide if you want to come prepared to the conversation. You can print it out, you can have the website link or whatever it may need. I guess just knowing that it may take time for your parents or guardians to process and to be accepting, and also knowing that for you, it's okay to set boundaries when you're having this conversation, and you can get up and leave if you need to. Take care of yourself, because you are important, and your mental health and your well-being is top priority here. So making sure that you are taking breaks if you need them. If you are so overwhelmed, and your parents are probably overwhelmed too, and the conversation is just a lot, just saying to them, like, hey, I need to step away from this conversation right now, but we can come back to it later. That is okay to feel that way, and knowing that it's okay to take a step back sometimes. And this is a big deal, and it can be huge for some people. So knowing that it's okay to feel all your feels and to take care of yourself. So
yeah, I recently heard a writer that I have just recently discovered, who, I don't know if you know who Abby Wambach is, y'all, but she's an Olympic soccer player. She's super cool, but her wife wrote a book, and one of the things that she speaks a lot about in her book is that all feelings are for feeling, right? So if you have negative feelings, you might have models in your life who tell you that you have to squash those, swallow them, fix them. But you don't have to. You're allowed to feel bad. You're allowed to feel anxious. You're allowed to feel happy. You're allowed to feel relieved. Any emotions that come up around coming out and around this conversation, or the choice to not have the conversation and not come out right now, are all reasonable and valid. And you're allowed to feel them. You're allowed to take time to just let them wash over you. That's totally allowed.
Yes, that's awesome. Well, I think that's all I have. I don't know if you wanted to add anything else, or you want to plug our Instagram, or our TikTok, I should say, of the week.
Yeah, so we want to bring you someone fun who's on social media, in just, Instagram, what is that? TikTok, you just said, YouTube. But so today we have a TikToker who is super funny, super like on the LGBTQ content creation. The username is it called a handle? It's a Twitter handle.
I don't know what they use it for.
I don't know
for TikTok.
But it's olive, no oil, like olive oil, but olive, no oil, all one, connected. There's like no dashes or periods or anything.
I'll put it on the screen so it can pop up.
Yeah, this person is super funny, and like
that's awesome. I love that. It's great to have some you see so much negative stuff on social media all the time. So I love this little segment that we do that's like just a little plug to something that's positive and gives you guys something to go check out and ends your night with. So
yes. Okay, so we will see you in a week.
Yes.
And again, email the Safe Space Teen Talk email with any, it is a mouthful, with any specific questions you have, or if you want to let us know how it went, if you choose to come out or why you're choosing not to come out, any thoughts you have or questions, we would love to hear them.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for watching. Another week. We'll see you next Tuesday. Yep. Have a great night.
Bye.
Hello, welcome to another segment of BSU, Black Student Union. We are getting ready to jump into another topic this week. So,
wait. Before we do though, Tori, I gotta say, My bad on last week. You were absolutely right. I rewatched Black Panther over the weekend. There was no colorism there. They were the same color. And I swear I remember them being two different colors, one lighter, one darker. But when they got into battle, I was like, oh, he's a little bit lighter, but not to the extent that I remembered to the emphasis that I was making last week. So I got it.
And just for clarity, can you tell us who them is?
So from the Black Panther movie, the Killmonger and the King.
The Black Panther. All right, cool. All right, so great. I'm glad that you had a chance to go watch the movie again. Hope you had a fun time watching it. So, well, that actually brings us to this topic, this discussion. We will be dissecting the Black Panther movie. So hopefully you all had a chance to watch it. If not, we want to encourage you to take some time and go watch the Black Panther, the Marvel movie, actually. So I'm assuming, Keira, you watched the movie as well?
I did. I watched it last night.
All right, cool. Actually, when the movie came out, my family and I, we all went together. We had a family outing. We all went to go watch the Black Panther together. We had on our dashikis, and we're just really excited to watch the movie. And I'm really not that big into Marvel, but watching that movie, I was like, maybe I should go back and rewatch the whole storyline. So we have a lot to unpack with the Black Panther movie. Who wants to kick us off? Dennetra, you want to go first?
Well, I wore this shirt because when we originally were talking about it, I was thinking I would wear this shirt, but this is the wrong Black Panther shirt.
That's okay.
Black Panther, Huey Newton, Black Panther Party. But yeah, when I rewatched the movie, I had to rewatch it to kind of remind myself what to expect from our conversation today. And when I rewatched it, there was something that stood out to me. The thing that stood out to me the most, well, there was many things, but one of the things that I actually took a mental note of that I didn't notice before was when Cloud said, you savages do not deserve. That whole piece, you know, hearing it from a non-person of color, calling the Africans savages and saying that they don't deserve something, you know, something that they were clearly benefiting from, a natural resource that was created in their community, but yet they don't deserve it because it's of good quality. That really bothered me, and it made me shift in my seat when I was watching the movie this weekend.
Yeah. I think that's so interesting that they decided to put those horrible words in the mouth of the bad guy, right? Because sometimes we hear that stuff from people who are represented as neutral or even good people. And so we don't know how to we're like, that's a messed up thing to say, but you're like supposed to be a good guy or a neutral guy. But they took that messed up thing and put it with a really messed up person, which will maybe show an audience member that's like, oh, if I think that or say that same thing, maybe I'm as bad as he is. Yep. Little mini lesson.
Exactly. I'm trying to think of some different themes that I also noticed in the movie. One of the big things there was Wakanda was ruled by, or it was, I guess you could say, ruled by or driven by a lot of Black women. And I know in last week's episode, we talked about colorism, and in the movie, The Black Panther, there were a lot of darker shade Black women. And I just thought that was a beautiful thing, especially when we move into the different hairstyles that they had and what that meant for the Black community, and just the little Black, kids being able to watch this movie and to see people who look like them, who might have the same hair as them, and just what that did for them. I just thought it was great that they had a movie where it was a country, a continent, however you want to, depict Wakanda. They were rooted in technology, and they had Black women, just driving a force forward. It's just, I think that goes to show us that, we are much more than what society depicts us as. Even speak in particular, Hollywood movies, that's the word I was looking for. Oftentimes we see different roles that Black women have that are, somewhat degrading, but in that movie particular, it was almost like you put us on a pedestal, and it just felt good. Not trying to brag, not trying to be, toot our own horns, but it just really felt good to see us be depicted in a good way. Anything you two want to add about that theme right there?
I really like that there's not just one black woman, because often in movies it's just one and she has a really fixed personality and she's just there kind of as a prop for the movie or for the story. But in this movie there are 4 really significant black women who are all very different from each other, and they're very complex, and they have depth, and they have wants, and they have fears, and they have boundaries, which I really love, that they all have just boundaries to a certain extent. And that's just, I just agree that it was a really powerful and positive depiction of black women.
And I just want to add one adjective to Keira's feedback. And they all had strength. Individually, they were all very strong women who stood on their own. None of them were weak. None of them were this stereotypical bed wench or side chick or hood chick. They were all strong and they were all regal. And I really like that, that they had class and they had strength. And they had stamina, and they were hanging in there. They was getting with some of those dudes, man. Listen, who can say what a woman can and cannot do? It was, I agree with what Tori said. It was really nice to see black women depicted with such confidence and power in that movie. All of them. None of them were depicted negatively. And it was really nice to see that it wasn't just the black folks that was on the opposite side of the good pendulum, that there were other bad guys who didn't look like us, which was amazing.
Yeah. Almost like the roles were reversed in some way on usually how we're depicted in different movies and TV shows. So and like I said earlier, like the hair statement, I think the hair statement made a huge just conversation, during the movie and after the movie, how their hair was shown in the movie. You had the one fighter, I cannot think of her name, she had a bald haircut or a bald style, and just how confident she was wearing that was wonderful. And I hope that opened up doors for other people who may be struggling with their hair or just their identity to just feel confident in that. So that really stood out to me.
And I want to jump on that and say how unconfident she was in that wig. Contrast. She was scratching it. She was uneasy having it on. And as soon as she got busted, she yanked that wig off and tossed it. And I thought that spoke volumes for what we go through as black women, that sometimes we are trying to fit into this box and change our narrative. That comes natural for us because we think society has a certain expectation of what we should look like and how we should style our hair and what we should do with our hair. And yes, I agree with what Tori said, to see her confidently rock her bald. I know Keira knows something about that. She grown her hair out, but Keira's hair used to be like to her shoulders, and she shaved it off and rocks it confidently. Keira don't try to put a wig on it or anything like that. I mean, she'll wear a head wrap stylishly periodically, but not for the purpose of hiding her head. And I think that is so important, that what Tori said, that we as black women gain that confidence and that comfortability with what we receive naturally from our higher power. Whatever hair, or as Chris Rock says, as long as it's still on your head, it's good hair. So, I think that we need to own that no matter how it looks.
For sure.
And honestly, going back to that colorism piece from last week, if we think about the woman who was with Killmonger, right, like that depiction of a woman of color had this kind of like loose curl, light-skinned thing that we talked about last week as being upheld, that we like sometimes think that it's more beautiful. And she, out of the black women characters, was, I think, the weakest character and struggled the most. So yeah, I think this movie really like reversed a lot, like you were saying earlier, Tori, like it reversed a lot of what we typically see.
Exactly. And that's just great in itself right there, and the message that it sends, to the community, to society. But I'm thinking more so for the younger generation, for them to see, yes, I can be, this great thing. Black Panther, just awesome movie. Great movie. One of the connections I made to the movie, they talked a lot about vibranium and how it was like this awesome resource that everyone else in the world wanted. Everyone wanted it, but there in Wakanda, they were the largest producer of vibranium, in other words. Which I made the connection that I was watching an interview a couple years back, and one of the interviewees, I guess you could say, in the interview talked about coltan, which is a mineral that is found in Africa, specifically the Congo, with them being the largest producer of this mineral. This mineral is found in a lot of technology that we use, cell phones, computers, TVs, microwaves, things like that. And if we did not have that resource, a lot of the things that I just named and much more that we use in our everyday lives will not function as properly. So it made me think, like, it's kind of like vibranium. If they did not have that in Wakanda, or in the Wakanda world, things will not function, as properly. It just wouldn't work. So it just goes to show that, sometimes in movies they make those true connections, and you kind of have to dig deep and do your own research, when watching that, those kind of things, to just see the correlation that they're making. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I felt real happy. I was like, I made this connection. So I was like looking for articles, like, I wonder if anybody else, was thinking about this or whatever. But it was cool.
That is cool. That is cool. It's not unusual that there's a truth in some movies, and that you can draw a parallel to some factual things that are happening in today's society, for sure. I agree with that.
Yeah. And I think we should talk a little bit about Killmonger's. I believe he had frustration to him not having that direct. Trying to think of the right words. That direct connection with Wakanda, and how does that translate over to what we see in real life? So just to kind of kick us off a little bit with that, when Africans arrived over here, speaking during the slavery times, our connection to Africa was cut off. And, generation after generation, we continue to be, displaced from our connection to Africa. And then, it's just, we don't have that direct connection. I'm trying to think of the right words to say, but my mind is just like going faster than my words right now. But we don't have that direct connection with Africa. So we see that, or I believe we see that in the Black Panther movie with Killmonger, and when he found out that he is actually a part of the Wakanda family, the Wakanda heritage, and then you just see a lot of frustration in him when he goes back to Wakanda. You even see him challenge T'Challa, which is the Black Panther, because he's just so frustrated that he did not have that connection with, his family, which again, I believe it translates over to what a lot of us, I'm gonna speak, for myself, but what, I see in society today.
Mm-hmm. And I think I love that you're bringing up the frustration and his like anger, because like he grew up, the way his growing up was depicted is that he did not have what he needed, right? He didn't have a sense of safety. He didn't have what he needed, to be well. And his dad, who was the prince, the brother of the then king, even he grew up in Wakanda and had that deep connection to Wakanda and knew himself to be of that. And then arrived in Oakland, and after a time also got angry and also became radical because the situation there was just so bad. And he was able to see, and Killmonger grew up able to see, that just because Black people were succeeding and thriving in Wakanda doesn't mean they were in the rest of the world. And then he's asking a really important question about, like, when we have enough, when we have what we need, what is our responsibility to the rest of our community, right? Is it our responsibility to share? And then also, what does that sharing look like? Does it look like violent revolution? Does it look like building a shelter and STEAM center in the inner cities of the world? You know, like what is our actual course of action? And I think that's just a really interesting question to think about.
I think that's a very good point and a very good question. And I'm going to take us out with saying, we like to challenge all of you. Rewatch the movie, even if you have seen it already. Rewatch it. Look for some of these pieces that we talked about. Look for some of those things that correlate to back to today. When you watch it, don't just watch it for the enjoyment. Watch it to analyze it, to dissect it. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on some of the pieces that we mentioned here in our podcast today? Thank you so much for watching. We love that you all are tuning in. We hope to see you again next week. And let's just take pleasure in knowing that we got a superhero movie.
Right? Hey. Yes. So excited. Yes.
Thanks for watching.
See you later.
Yep. Bye.
Good night, everyone. I hope you enjoyed all the education and activities this evening at the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Fox Valley Teen Talk. We really enjoyed bringing this to you and look forward to bringing you even more in the days to come. We miss you all very much. From the staff of the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Fox Valley, be well, be safe, and be you, because you are the best at it.